Hey everybody, Andy here. Thursday live office hours, helping you build a career you love. Great to have you on a sunny day in July when we're doing this. Welcome aboard. I see the chat is already filled with a bunch of questions, which I love. Make sure if you are here with me live, get in the chat, say hi, let me know who you are, where you're from. I always love to know that. What you do, and with what you need, put some question marks in front of your questions so I can find them easily. And if you are in one of my programs, let me know. I always love to give you a shout out. Plus, I like to know what assets you have if I need to redirect you with some additional firepower for your career. So I am pumped. Today is so nice because I'm going to focus the entire hour on your questions. I got a couple of great announcements with a free workshop that I'm going to be doing starting August 8th, running every day that week through the 12th, my job search mini camp. It looks like my team has already put that in the chat. So all you need to do is click it, drop your name and email in the form, and we will send you a ton of goodies. A ton of goodies. It's awesome. And I'll talk a little bit more about that as we get in maybe, 20 minutes or 30 minutes in, maybe the bottom of the hour. So I see, me saying hello to you in the chat. Weather Dude, EGR NHL, Jim, Nick, Payne, what's up? YT, Christina Lambert, my beloved boot camper. Beth, my beloved everything. And Elena, nice to see you. Barry Carney, Paul Shea, Teresa McLean, Friars Rule, KKL, how are ya? Jordan Davis, Abigail, Yo, Walker, what's up? Okay, I'm going to go straight from the chat. I'm just going to take the questions in order. Team, if I miss anything, yell, chat, Slack, whatever we are doing these days. Looks like everything is good to go. Okay, Weather Dude's got a question. I had an interview. The hiring manager required a salary for a local government position. I gave a range, but they chose a salary on the low end. Once I receive the offer, is it possible to negotiate? Okay, great question. I know this is a little confusing. And one of the things that, I would strongly guide you as to not give any number. That's the first thing. The second thing I would do is, if giving a number, I wouldn't give a range because they always hear the low end. All of that stuff puts you at a disadvantage. However, I have loads of videos on my salary negotiation playlist, which I highly recommend you watch. Now, I realize a lot of you have been in situations where the person you're speaking to, whether it's the recruiter, the hiring official, an HR person, or whomever, starts to turn purple. They don't want to move forward because they want to check their silly little box. I totally get it. In that case, what I suggest is you ask them for a range. What's your range? And say, okay, that range sounds fine based on what I know. I'm looking forward to learning more, and so on. That's another route you can go. It's a little bailout. Now, if you have given a number, if they ask and you just gave a number, one thing for you to know is that whatever you say in the beginning, you can alter that as you get into the process if they give you an offer. If they come back and they say to you, well, Weather Dude, you gave us a number and you said you were comfortable with 70, or you said 70 to 90 and we got you in that range at 70, then what I want you to do is you're going to need to go into a number of different steps to prove that you're worth more. But know this for sure, that you could alter the number you want. Why? Because you live in a whole new world a week from that time, 3 weeks from that time, 3 months from that time, where you gave the initial information or initial range or initial suggested salary or expected salary or whatever. Because what? You were uninformed at that time. You are now more informed. So what you can say is, okay, well, based on what I discovered in the interview process, what I get to do, the value I'm going to contribute based on this, based on these goals, based on what I'm able to do, based on what the benefits you're going to realize, and you have to make a case for all of this. The number is more like 90 kind of thing. So, your question is a yes or no question. Once I receive the offer, is it possible to negotiate? Yes, it is. And remember, anytime you alter something that you indicated about anything, if you have new information, it's fair game that you can change your answer. So realize that, right? And so every time you put a number in on an application, which is irrelevant, and most 99.9% of recruiters, HR people, and hiring officials know that, right? You know even less on the application. Then you get into the screen, you still know very little, right? And then as you go through the process, you're going to know more and have a better appreciation. So that's my suggestion there. So is it possible to renegotiate? Yes. Is it possible to counter? Yes. And all that good stuff. I would do it every time, virtually every time. All right, EGRNHL. What do we got here? Let me see if I can go from this other chat. When is supervisory experience important in seeking a job? Should I apply for positions that require supervisory experience if I have no direct reports with same years of experience? Okay, couple of different elements here. The way you ask the first question, EGR, is when is supervisory experience important in seeking a job? Generally speaking, it's important if it is a managerial position that requires some level of expertise in managing people. Now, you could argue that just because you haven't managed people before, that you would be effective at it. I would agree with that statement, that people, just because you haven't had the opportunity doesn't mean you won't be the best manager ever. Now, you asked me, well, when is it important? Every hirer, every company is going to interpret that differently. Because if you came from a larger organization where you had more challenging problems to deal with, you were a team leader, maybe you had some influence over people, maybe you had some interactions with internal customers, external customers, vendors, other people that you had to influence, even influence without authority, which, by the way, I have a video on my YouTube channel on that, influencing people when you don't have the authority, how to go about doing that effectively. If you're able to show that you have experience and have built some of the capabilities that would make you a good supervisor, some companies are going to say, I like that, we'll give you a chance. Now, you have a better chance of doing that if you're going from a larger company where you don't have supervisory experience but have tackled challenging problems, going to a smaller company where they're willing to know that they're getting some extra goods from you because you've dealt with some challenging issues. You have shown the ability to influence your constituents, so to speak, your stakeholders, your customers, or whoever you might be interacting with. And so is it, as we kind of bleed into the next question, if you have no direct reports experience, could you apply? You could always apply, but you have to use your head. If they're asking you to run a 25-person team and you've never managed anyone, then you're probably going to get passed over. You're not even going to get the interview. If it's something like you're going to manage a small team, you probably have a better shot. My approach to this is anytime you're looking for supervisory experience, meaning I would like to manage people and I would like to get the opportunity to do that, and I happen to be changing companies. If you're going to do something like that, then I would think longer term, because you are much better getting into an organization as an individual contributor, but an organization that has a propensity for elevating their people. I would rather take the step over as an individual contributor, learn the company, learn the market, learn the product, learn the service, whatever it is, and then grow in that organization because you're a better bet. And oftentimes you'll hear me say, the less change in the change, the faster and more effective you can make the change. That goes for career changing, but it also goes for job changing. So when I look at a career changer who wants to make a career change, when I mean less change in the change, the example for that individual is, I want to change careers, but I really want to change functions. I don't want to be a project manager. I want to go to the marketing team or something like that. Well, then what I say is, all right, what are all the variables that'll change by you changing? Well, you're going to change companies, but you don't have to change markets or company types or product types. If you're a project manager that knows pharmaceuticals, great, go to a pharmaceutical company and try to get on the marketing team, kind of thing. So if you're a job changer and you're looking to pick up additional functional responsibilities like managing people, your best bet would be to go to a company that looks just like yours. like a direct competitor and say, I'm bringing all this product knowledge, I'm bringing all this service knowledge, I might even bring some customers or whatever, and I'm going to move over, and they're going to say, oh, you know what then? Because you have all those things, and we know you don't have managerial or team leading experience, we're going to give you that opportunity. So the less change in the change. So you're just changing and you're changing companies, but you're not changing market, product lines, or whatever. So the more of those you can keep the same, the better you can move over and take the leap. So these are a number of things to consider as y'all make changes. And I wanted to expand that a little bit because I do think a lot of those techniques that I applied or the concepts that I just mentioned here for EGR would apply to others regardless of whether you're looking for supervisory experience or not. All right, so I hope that helps. And Jim, I peeked at this question and I kind of squealed with glee before I started because I know your question was up at the top here. Do you have any recommendations on evaluating a job once offered and comparing it to my career goals? I am struggling if some jobs I am applying for will help to advance my career. This could quite possibly be one of the best questions I've gotten in all of 2022. Jim, this is a home run question, and let me tell you why I think it's a home run question. Number one, I think you are absolutely approaching this from the right perspective, which is not an easy thing to do. The second thing is you're asking me a question that's actually very difficult to evaluate if you've not taken the proper steps. So I want to pull this up here, and I want to chew on this a bit here with you. So let's take it in order, and there's a number of pieces that I want to cover for you. This is really good. I could do a whole session on this one. All right, evaluating the job once offered, comparing to my career goals. First thing is, in order for you to have your career goals in order, you have to take a first step. But in the first step, you need to make sure that what you're doing in the step is correct. I'll be really specific here. You might have heard me, if you follow me, you probably hear me talk a lot about getting a list of your requirements. And I've given free videos out there. There's also some free downloads on what most people's happiness factors are. You can call them whatever you want. They're the things I need. They're my criteria. They're my requirements. They're my happiness factors. And as an executive recruiter, I've personally interviewed almost 15,000 people, and we've collected data from about 12,000 of those people. Based on the data of what those people want in terms of making a move and what they want in their company, we've listed the top 15 happiness factors. Stacy can drop it in the chat, and y'all can download this, and I give you the definitions of what these are. But your first step is making sure that your requirements in order. What the requirements does is things like the career track, what kind of company I want to work for, what kind of boss do I want to travel, don't I, how important is compensation and the benefits to me, all of training, all those things that go in that list, all the kind of things that you would generally think you would want. What that does is it helps you create a list of questions that you will then go and evaluate your current employer or most recent one, even if you've left, to get a benchmark of generally how happy you were, what your gaps were. And then as you go and interview, what you do is you are asking questions to elicit information from the company to know whether that company can satisfy your requirements. That's really important because you cannot know if you're making a good career choice if you don't ask the questions, get the information, and properly evaluate it. So the first thing is there is a video that I have out there. There's a couple of them that I want to point you to give you more information on that. One is how to start your job search in the right place. And the other one is how do I choose the right job? And I go into more detail on how to do this. Now, first things first, what the requirements do is it helps you elicit the right questions. Then you're going to elicit the information by asking the questions. So when people say, what question should I ask the employer? You're asking questions about the health of the organization, financial stability, and all those other things to see if it's generally a good company. But then you're asking all your requirements-specific questions to know if it's going to match you. So you're always looking at, is it a good company? And just because it is doesn't mean it's a good role for you. Is it a good company for me? All right, that's the first thing. Except that the requirements is a snapshot in time of what I want at the moment and the foreseeable future, and it is more in alignment with the environment, the virtual environment, not to mix up what I'm saying, virtual environment by working virtually or working remotely. I'm talking about how in alignment is this organization to the requirements that I have. That talks about your happiness at the moment and for the foreseeable future. It does not give you a clear indication of whether it's in complete alignment with your goals, which is the second part. Can you see why I'm so happy about this question? All right, the second thing that you asked me about is the career goals. Well, now you have to go back even further. So you got your requirements in order, but even before you do all that, you need to think about not what I want, but who I want to be. And I'll give you an example just so you can sink your teeth into this. If my career goal was I want to be a business owner that does career coaching services, and my goal is I need to have X number of people paying me X dollars per capita so that I could generate X millions of dollars and whatever, I think those are some pretty lousy career goals. Because what happens is when you have metric-based goals, there's nothing wrong with metric-based goals if used properly, but most people misuse them. And they focus on outcome-related things that they have absolutely no absolute control over, and their behaviors are changed because of what they're focused on. Number of bodies, number of sales, number of this. Instead, my career goals are more about who I want to be. I want to be a person who helps others in their in finding the right job and then developing once they're in it. Okay, that's who I want to be. How do I want to do that? I want to do that by creating a business. What is that business going to offer? It's going to offer the types of products, services, and solutions that help them do this way. What kind of person and coach am I going to be? I'm going to be a present-based coach. I'm going to be a coach that shows up every Thursday at 11 a.m. Central Time. I'm going to be, right, other coaches, they want to be speakers and just have one-to-one clients. That's fine too. That's their model. Okay? Some coaches want to just put videos out and whatever. Now, it's just an example, but when you think about your career goals, I would think in terms of who I want to be. Another asset I would point you to is the video I have out on my YouTube channel about where do you see yourself in 5 years. I actually gave you the talk because I wanted you to have the answer to the stupid interview question of, Jim, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Your career goals, right? Your 5-year plan. Except that because most people focus on where they want to be, they get the answer wrong. And so I helped you with my answer was not just here's the script for how to answer that question, but how to actually think through it so you can align your career goals to the response that you're going to give them. So you're going to talk about, I want to be a person who, I want to be working in a capacity where I'm building this so it helps the market do that, or this person do that, right? So what you call that 5 years from now, I don't know what I'm going to be called. I don't know what all the little product lines I'm going to be offering you because I have to get into it. So when I look at putting my career goals together in that manner, the who I want to be, don't start with why, start with who. Who do you want to be? Why do you want to be that? That's second. And then what will help satiate that is third. The what and the vehicles that you are operating in at any moment in time are your requirements. That gives you a decision and a snapshot in time. The goals let you know, am I in the right swim lane, so to speak? Now I'm here, kind of thing. That's how you put all that together. I have loads of this in much more detail, not just the videos I gave you on YouTube, but in my job search coaching program, I have this in spades. And then the other thing that we mentioned recently, depending on when you're watching this, but the job search mini camp, that's the free workshop I'm doing August 8th through 12th. That first session is on this too. There's elements of this on there. So I think that's a fantastic question, Jim. I really appreciate you giving me a chance to answer that. I hope that helped you. And I would definitely check out the mini camp. And if you're not already in my job search coaching program, the big boot camp, you might want to check that out. So I hope that helps. That's just a great one. Just a great one. Love that question. All right. If you are 20 minutes in, let me give you the goods on the mini camp since I mentioned it for Jim. So once a year, actually this year it's going to be twice a year, but once a year I like to do my greatest tips workshop where I cover a segment of the major functions or major steps for you in your job search. Getting your plan and direction in order, putting your marketing material together like your resume writing, bringing yourself to the market, so the job hunt or job search itself, and then interviewing, and then salary negotiation. So every day of the week, Monday the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, that week in August, we're going to be spending a little over 2 hours a day going through major teaching portions, and most of those days, I have actually a case study that you haven't seen yet. No one's seen these. Case studies from people in my coaching program who effectively have done this, and they give you their lessons, like dozens of lessons and pointers that they give you, and they each had different goals, and somebody was changing careers, somebody was changing locations, somebody had left his family in Asia, and he was in the U.S. I mean, we've got some really good ones for you. And I do have a follow-along workbook that we're going to send the night before. There's some value emails each day. It's a ton of fun. And if you are in my paid program, my job search coaching program, during those sessions, during the Q&As, because we're going to have healthy Q&As each day, we'll address your questions first. So we'll give you priority service there, and then there's some extra coaching around that for the premium members as well. Right now, the mini camp is free. If you're interested in checking out my job search boot camp, the full big boot camp, the paid program, we're offering that for $200 off. Maybe Kara can drop that in the chat if you want to look at that. It's really great. And if you got any questions about any of this stuff, hit us up at support@milewalk.com. And one other thing, for all of you that are in my one-to-one coaching or have access to me on a one-to-one basis, I'm working double or triple time next week to try to get all the coaching sessions in, because the week of the 8th through the 12th, I'm working quadruple time, but I'm going to be tied up with the workshop. So I just want to give you a shout out on that, because I know we've been getting a lot of people who are requesting one-to-ones with me. So I only have so many hours in the day. As much as I would love to clone myself, I wish I could, but I want to let you know that. All right, next, what do we got up here? Nick Payne. What's the good word? Let's see. Interviewing today for a newly created role in a new industry, no job description. Okay. Had one interview with the CEO and have a technical with the CEO on Monday. That sounds odd to me. A little, meaning, wait, great that you had an interview with the CEO. I love it. The fact that they have no job description, no problem. If it's a newly created role, awesome. But having a technical interview with the CEO sounds odd to me. So right there's telling me there's something dysfunctional about the organization that a CEO, even if it's a 5-person company, would be giving you a tech screen. So how should I be thinking about the narrative? When you say narrative, I'm not sure what you mean for a technical screen. If they're asking you technical questions, I would give them technical answers, and it's going to be more pointed if that's the case. Or the market rate, I'm wondering if you're asking me about what your expected salary should be. I have no idea, because I don't know what the function is. Function in and of itself. The function itself and the value that the function creates is what, to me, determines the rate. I don't ever put the word market and rate together, because I don't believe there's any such thing as a standard market rate, and there's obviously none if this is a newly created position. And I don't know if you were emailing me something about a new and innovative position, but if that's the case, you have to think in terms of cause and effect. That's what pay is. I do something that helps you realize value, and for that value, for that effect, you're going to pay me some number, and that's how I go about it. And for those that are actually in my job search coaching program, we have a session on how to determine that, or at least make the argument. But the question itself is a bit too vague. I don't have enough information to give you anything more detailed than what I just gave you. But I hope that gets you in the right direction. YT, what do I put in the box on the online application, when they ask what is your expected salary, what if you don't have every single skill they listed? Two separate questions. One, I'm just going to echo what I said earlier when I think it was Weather Dude asked me. When you get an application and they ask you what is your expected salary, and on the application, and they ask you the question, and you actually have to select something, meaning it's not free form. If it's free form and it's not a required field, you can put open or negotiable. That's rare. Normally what they'll have is a selection, a button, a drop down, or something that says 50,000 to 54,999, 55,000 to 59,999, and so on, something like that. All you need to do is just pick something near what you currently earn. That's it. Don't worry about it. Going back to what I said to Weather Dude, you're going to renegotiate that if they actually give you an offer, so don't worry about that. And then what if you don't have every single skill they have listed? That's okay, provided you have what you think are the most important skills. So how do you determine that? Each position is going to be a little different. A lot of job descriptions, unfortunately and ridiculously, have like 25 bullet points. We want this, 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 and this, or you're going to do this, 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 and it just keeps going. Not all of those skills or all of those things that they say are required or nice to have are actually required. So the nice to haves, those are not required. The requireds, not all of those are required, regardless of what they tell you. There's a couple, there's one or two, maybe three at the most, absolute skill sets that they need. You need to determine whether you could do that job well if you don't have the other stuff. So if I'm a project manager and I'm looking at a project management position and it says we want 10 years of IT-related project implementations with the software development lifecycle, we want these methodologies, and we need you to have managed this type of solution in this type of industry at this size of a budget. Okay, so then the question becomes, okay, I don't know if all of those are required. Have I managed $1 million project before? No. Have I managed a $500,000 project? Yeah, you go, kind of thing. Have I managed customer relationship management solutions, which is what they're asking me for, but I haven't done it in the financial services sector? You go, right? Kind of thing, because I would argue that it might not be an absolute requirement, because you might have a recruiter that sitting back there and a hiring official saying, hey, I would love it if they had all these things, but what I really need is I really need these two. I don't need a salesperson who's sold this exact software. I need a salesperson who has sold some type of software that's on par with our type of software. Or it's a software as a service, so it's a similar type of software. It's not a $100 transaction, it's a more consultative sale. So you have to start looking at that. You will know, based on your experience in those positions, whether you have most of what they need. If they say I need 10 years of experience and you kind of check everything off, but you have 7, you go. And then you see what happens. But again, if you're boss hunting instead of applying, you're going to have a much better shot. So I hope that helped. Those are some really great questions there. And I just love my Christina and my Beth. And Elena, my leader, what's up here? What's the best way to respond to unexpected criticism in a wash-up meeting after a project is complete? I've never heard that term, wash-up. I've heard of a post-audit, a detox, or something like that. I'm assuming that's what you mean. Someone saying you didn't consider certain aspects when you actually did. Okay, so a couple of things. Unexpected criticism can come from different directions. So it should not ever come from your boss, meaning criticism's okay and feedback's okay and all that good stuff. It shouldn't be a huge surprise to you, because you should be communicating. If somebody else who is not intimately familiar with what you're doing day in and day out is criticizing you, then what probably happened is the results of the project reflected either a lack of awareness or a lack of detail or a lack of assessment or a lack of implementation of something that they construed that you didn't, or misconstrued that you didn't evaluate it. And so what I would say there is, so my reactions generally are, when I go into the meeting, I actually prepare myself that I'm going to get a whole host of whatever. And I tell myself, you're likely to be surprised, but you may or may not be, right? If somebody surprises me, here's how I'm going to handle it. So I prepare before I go in. And Elena, you're in the leadership program, so you know how I go about running my day. And each day in the morning, we do what? We consider the day. We run through the day in our head. We think about all the possibilities that can happen. And we're not talking about self-fulfilling prophecies here. We're talking about prepping it so you can handle it with your highest self. Then every time we do any activity, we consider the activity. So every hour, every half hour, right before we go into the meeting or whatever, we always consider everything that could happen. By the way, preparing yourself for this does what? It helps you field anything, any curveballs, any surprises as your highest self. So if somebody said, it appears as though you didn't consider certain aspects, you can say, you know what? As a matter of fact, I can see how you can think that. And based on the result, if this is true, by the way, based on the results, I can see how it might look that way. What we learned was, we did consider this, but something happened, obviously, that wasn't covered, wasn't implemented, didn't go well, or whatever. We didn't foresee, or we thought that one of those three scenarios could occur. Our risk assessment said it was a low probability, but it turned out it did, right? Like, so there's some explaining and clarifying, but you don't want to say, well, we did, we did that. Like, you have to understand where it's coming from. Now, this could be coming from the person who's paying the bills. It could be coming from a teammate. It could be coming from a subordinate. It could be coming from an internal customer, external customer. So I don't know who that was, and I could probably give you a better script of how I would approach it depending on who specifically it was. But for you to best handle it, consider it in the morning. Consider it right before. Make sure that you acknowledge and remember, whether you think they're right or they're wrong, that's how they're feeling. That's what it appears to be to them. So that's how I respond. That's how I would respond to something like that. I can understand that's how it looks. I can understand that's how you feel. Something like that. Don't say I know how you feel ever, because you don't ever. It's a technical impossibility. So, but it's acknowledgement and then explanation, but not in a defensive mode. Barry Carney from Philly. How you doing? Hey, Kara. Paul Shea, what's up, new boot camper? Teresa's a boot camper, too, from Hotlanta, and Kelly's a boot camper. I just love that. Jordan Davis, we got a question here. I'm about to be in a salary negotiate. Can we send Jordan Davis some live office hours love here so Jordan gets paid a boatload of money? The recruiter was insistent I give them a number during the phone screen. The offer was based off that number, but I want more. How do I frame it? Again, because Weather Dude kind of kicked us off with this, and I don't know, I think YT or whoever that was, kind of piled on top. Same thing. So I would see my response to, I think it was the first one, to Weather Dude today, Jordan. Abigail. I would not okay, Abigail, what changes would you make to the 4-sentence and 7-sentence cover letters for career changers? I would not use I would not use those if I was changing careers. So if you're changing careers, you don't want to go. The likelihood that you're going to float in with the 4-second and the 7-sentence cover letters are built for people who have the requisite skills. Trash them. That is not applicable and is not going to get you anywhere. With career changers, I wouldn't go the cover letter route. I would go the networking route, and I would use the networking templates. I would wholly change tactics. So keep that in mind. Yo Walker, hey Andy, I'm back after 4.5 years. I found a job because of you. How are you? Oh, I love it. I think you hit me on YouTube, right? How do I do job search effectively and discreetly when I need to be relocated to California from Utah and when I am still employed. I'm going to give you a quick one here. Check my video on how to get an out-of-state job. That's exactly what you need. There's 9 steps. They're all covered. Kurt, how are you? Moving forward. Oh, Laura, is that Laura Trucano from Chicago? Hanging with you so I can get pumped up. Love it. Beth, what's up? Are there any situations in which you would recommend taking a lower salary than you're currently earning? There are. In fact, Kara, can you do me a favor? Do we still have on the blog the 7 reasons to take a pay cut? Kara, can you tell me that if you're awake and with me here? Beth, great question. I'm going to give you some of what I think are great reasons. Now, I'm going to preface whatever I'm about to say with, but you have to consider your situation because, you know, there's financial components, there's location components, there's other things that I know that everybody deals with, but there's also location components which I know you're dealing with. So, great reasons that I feel are worth it in the long run. So let me say that, worth it in the long run. If I wanted to, let me see. I'm in the wrong one. Hey, hold on. Yes, we do. Can we actually put, Kara, can we put that in the chat and for Beth? So I have a blog post that I wrote about the 7 best reasons or 7 reasons why I would take a pay cut. And I go into, so first thing is, if you are making a career change and getting into something that you want to get into, it's okay. I took the steepest pay cut you could possibly, actually I took a steeper than steepest pay cut. First time I went from lots to 0. The second time I went from making a lot of money to taking the money I was making and channeling it into making negative kind of thing. So, you know, those are great reasons. Career changing, opening up your business. Let's call it 1 and 1A. I would say getting to work with a company you absolutely want to get into, because you join a company, you don't join a job. So if it's your dream job to join Apple and you have to give up $100,000 to get in there, then go ahead and do that, right? Kind of thing. If you get a chance to work with somebody that you feel is bright, brilliant, and will be a great mentor, this probably alone can have the single greatest impact on your professional growth. And then the other thing is, I know you might have a move consideration among your choices. If being able to move got me to a spot where I could relocate or go back home or go to a different town or whatever, that's another reason that you might want to consider, especially if you're going from a higher cost of living area to a lower cost of living area. So you start to get into some of those. I'm a fan of every person has their requirements, and there is a pecking order of those requirements. So meaning it's most important that I get home near family. That's number 1. Okay, well, comp is important, but if comp has to take a back seat because it's more important for you to get home, well, your trump card is I gotta get home. So I'm willing to take a little bit less if I can get there, kind of thing. So those are some really great reasons. And then if Kara or whoever can pop that in the chat, I think that there it is. 7 career opportunities worth a pay cut is the title. You guys probably don't know this, but I mean, I wrote several hundred blog posts that were written before I went to podcasts and video. So there's still some out there. We've pulled some down. Baby girl, how are you? Fox, what's up? John Whitworth, how are you? Sergey from Boston, Amy Willoughby, Megan Wisdom. Thank you for sending me your story. I have not yet had a chance to read it, but I will, and I'll reply when I do. Hi, Terry. How are you? Terry Washington. Oh, Jordan, you did notice that I was answered. Okay. Creature Creator. Hey, Miriam. Christina Lambert, what's up? From my boss hunting, my target did an introduction to a manager on her team. Awesome. While they don't have anything available now, she wants to have a short conversation with me about my ideal role. Your question, okay, my question is more in the realm of what do I say and do? Do I just chat normally or treat it like an interview? Christina Lambert, let's make this really fast. There is a session in the boot camp on informational interviewing. I don't want to go into all that with you because I want you to go and watch it. And not only do I want you to watch it, I give you a booklet like that thick of the informational interview, how to control. This is perfect. This is exactly what I want you to do. I wrote it all out for you. Here's what you do. Here's the agenda you have. You control the agenda. Don't worry about that they're going to hire, that they're the ones with the position to offer. This is how you control the agenda. Here's what you say and don't at each section in the agenda. When you're done, here's exactly what you write them after. It's not a thank you note. It's totally different. So I want you to follow all of that. It's in there. You have it. It's exactly for what you just asked me. Like perfect 100% match. Good luck. Yes, it is possible to boss hunt Amazon. All right. Jamor, how are you? Amy Willoughby. I had 3 interviews this week. Awesome. Each person asked for my salary requirements. I said, I don't know your salary range or your benefits package. They kept asking for my number. See my previous answer to Weather Dude. And actually what I would really tell you is I would go, if you're using my free stuff, check out the 2 videos, not 1, 2 videos on what the answer is to the expected salary. There's 2 expected salary videos on my channel. One is from 2018. It's the ideal answer. And one is from 2020. It's the bailout answer. So check those. Gaming with Cat just killed an interview. Thank you so much for your advice. You are welcome. Can we give Gaming with Cat, whoever that is, a huge high 10 and a big live office hours hug? All right, the Maverick. Hey to you. I love your videos and content. I'm receiving a verbal offer sometime soon. We agreed for the highest salary band, but who knows? How can I negotiate without other offers in hand? So the Maverick, I'm assuming you're not in my boot camp because I have all of the how to do all that. But for you, what I would say is, without going through all the salary negotiations that I'm making privy to the public are in my salary negotiation playlist. You effectively need to make an argument about why you're worth more. Do not hang on to, here's the salary band, it's 80 to 100. We're offering you 105 and there's no room to negotiate. If you have to treat this like you didn't know and they didn't know, they offered you 105, you go from there. Don't fall for any crap like, hey, Maverick, we really went to bat for you and I went above what I wanted to, so we're giving you 105. Great. Then we're starting from there and we're going up. Trust me, you cannot hang on to all that information that's irrelevant. Just like because you want 110, that's irrelevant too. So you got to go in and make your case. It's in the salary negotiation videos. Check that out. And for any of you that are in the job search coaching program, the videos you want to watch are the salary negotiation case study and the advanced negotiation tactics, where I lay out the formula for how you make that argument and what pieces of information you need to grid up and actually document and have with you when you go to the counteroffer discussion. So don't forget that. All right, what else we got here? No sound. No sound. Yeah, turn your computer on. Volume. Michael Tierney, how you doing, buddy? Emilia LaCivita, what's up? Love you too, Mom. Can everybody give a shout out to my mom for having me so that all of you can live better lives and better careers? That's the person. And Dad, I'm sure Dad's in the background cooking. I know it's only 11:43 a.m. Central Daylight Time, but I'm sure he's already prepping dinner. Kristen Minch, did you get a mug? Did you get the mug? Did you guys get are the mugs showing up here on the channel? C. Lambert, how are you? Loaded up on my phone too. Nice. Deb, what's up? Sergey, I think it's Sergey, right? I've had a hard time to land offers. I say that I land a good amount of HR interviews. Nice, that's a good sign. But I do not have a lot of hiring manager interviews or not moving close enough to get an offer. Okay, so first things first. I love that you're getting screens, at least. When you get into the screen, you want to make sure that you are you're telling your stories in a manner, you're answering their questions in a manner where you're connecting with them. I have a lot of insight freebies on my YouTube channel on how to approach the recruitment screen. It's not just how to approach it from how to approach it what you say, but also what questions to ask them that'll help you get the information you need, sell yourself, and also position yourself for the interviews. It's very difficult to know exactly why you're not proceeding there, but one of the biggest reasons, remember this, one of the biggest reasons if you find yourself getting stopped at the recruitment screen is because you said something that restricted them. You selected yourself out. So what do I mean? This is the majority of the time. Because if you make it to a recruitment screen, you likely have the goods. Okay, so then what the recruiter is looking for are reasons why not to move you forward. They want to move you forward. Why? Because if they move you forward, that gets them one step closer to filling the position and checking the box off their list. They want you to get hired. That's the thing you got to realize. So when the recruiter is asking you about what you want and why you're leaving and what you're looking for in your next role and what you're open to, and you're saying things, this is why I don't want you giving them salary, right? We don't want you pricing out. The other thing is we don't want you saying, the position's 50% travel, I can only travel 20. Okay, boom, you're out. You mean it's an off? Well, I'd really like to work remote. Boom, you're out. Like you're saying something where they're probably ejecting you from the process because they know they can't close you if you get down to the end, which is why you want to be evasive with all that stuff and as open as possible in the screen. You don't want to be asking for any concessions or accommodations until your stock is the highest, and it isn't the highest. It should be the lowest in the recruitment screen, which is where you're getting kicked out of. So think on that. Try to reflect and see if that's occurring. Aaron, how are you? Rachel, always nice to see you. Ishbel, Andy, yes, you can ask a question. That's what we're here for. What should you do if you want to leave your current job, but you don't think you've accomplished enough in your current role? So I'm not being funny here, because I say this with all the empathy in my heart. If you are not happy in your current role, to me, my happiness is my highest form of criteria. If I'm not happy, I'm not worried about the rest of the stuff. I'll figure the rest of the stuff out later. If I need to leave that job for solid reasons, then I'm going to go. And I'll figure out the rest when I get there, kind of thing. So if you ask me, what should you do if you want to leave? I would leave. I really would. I really would. You can go accomplish something more somewhere else. Eric Richardson, I'm still working through the boot camp because I began boss hunting this morning, trying to find something to lift my spirits. With 30 minutes of reaching out to a boss, their boss viewed my LinkedIn profile. Should I make contact with their boss or await a response from the person I contacted? So one of the suggestions that I have, and I know you will find it difficult to do, but it will be good for your peace of mind, is to not bother with who looked at your LinkedIn profile. Anybody could look at your LinkedIn profile for any reason, and when they look at it, you don't know how they looked at it or why they looked at it, so don't drive yourself crazy. I would pay no attention. I would put it out and wait, put it out and wait, put it out and wait, and feed the top of the funnel, the send-outs. Don't agonize over what's happening until they get back to you. So, should I make contact with their boss? No. Await from response from the person you contacted? Yes. Now, if their boss, if you aren't getting any hits from that person you contacted and you want to go up the chain, wait 3 weeks and do that. Give them a chance. Right, preach it, Andy. I don't know what I was preaching, but I'm hoping it was good. Resume Master. I recently attended an interview. It went well, great. The department seemed disorganized and the job duties seemed more vague than the description. How should I evaluate the job if I receive an offer? So first thing is you want to make sure that you fully understand what the duties are. I'm going to give you two really good pieces of advice here. I might do a whole session on the second piece, but I want to get these in. Hang on, let's pull this one up. All right, the departments seem disorganized. That's a clue, red flag. The job duties seem more vague. That's another clue, red flag. Then the description, which means the description was probably vague. The ultimate way to get clarity on what the job description is the ultimate question I want you to ask in an interview is what? Who knows what it is? If I was to take this job, or anybody was to take this job, what would success look like in a year? Specifically, what will I have accomplished? The more important aspect of what you're getting yourself into is what they expect you to accomplish, not the activities they want you to perform. They should go hand in hand. I should do this cause, and it should have this effect, this outcome, this goal, this success factor, this key to success, this number, this reduction, this whatever, this build or whatever, okay? So you want to get them talking about what the goals need to be, and then see if there's an alignment. So does that mean I would do that this way? Is that what's part of the job? Let's get more clarity on that. That's the first thing. The second piece of advice I want to give you is, y'all, I want you to, okay, we're doing this live right now if you're here with me on Thursday, July 28th. On August 7th, it's a Sunday. I know this to be true because it's already locked and loaded for you. I have a video about how to use the job description to ace the interview. I'd love for all of you to watch it. It's not very long, but it's really powerful. And I do a case study of a job description, decomp, breakdown, and everything. But in absence of that video, and the tip I want to give you is one of the greatest ways for you to know what interview stories you're going to need to tell and what should go on your resume in the highlight section in particular is think about what the grades are. What am I being graded on as a whatever? Insert your function. So what do I mean? If I'm a marketer, I don't care what you do. I don't care if you're the copywriter. I don't care if you're the CMO. I don't care if you are writing a white paper, if you're the event planner, if you're the person analyzing the data. What's your goal? What am I grading you on? Did you increase brand awareness? Your job is not to sell, it's to increase brand awareness. So the sales people, their job is to sell. That's what they get graded on. Brand awareness. Have you increased brand awareness? That should be a successful outcome. And you, in turn, as part of your job description as a marketer, are going to be contributing to that. How am I contributing to that? But my grade is going to be on, did we increase brand awareness, right? That's one element. Did sales go up indirectly? Did we make it easier? Did we get more leads for sales? I'm going to get graded on the number of leads the marketing department. Every marketer, doesn't matter what you do, doesn't matter what company you work for, doesn't matter what the product is, right? Okay, I'm a salesperson. What am I going to get graded on? Sales. What else are you going to get graded on? Maybe number of new companies, maybe irrespective of how much they bought from you, but the fact that you got a new client, that could be a metric, right? What am I being graded on likely? What would companies want if they hire me as a project manager? Implement solutions, streamline according to budget, make sure everybody's happy, make sure the customers, I'm a customer service, client services rep. What are you being graded on? Client retention, right? Did those client accounts that you were managing grow? Revenue number, right? Like, what am I being graded on, or what should I be graded on? Back to highlights on my resume, to the stories I need to have ready for when I go into the interview. That's desk work that you should have ready before you send out a letter or an application. So when Resume Master, when you're looking at vague job descriptions, it all boils down to, am I the marketing person? What is my job? What is our goal as a marketing team? All right, well, what do I do to make that happen? And you're working backwards. And then you're having that dialogue, and then you're all being clear, and you're saying success for you looks like creating the papers so that that person on your team could take the damn papers and put them on the Facebook ad and whatever, like that kind of stuff. So that's how I evaluate that. And if you receive an offer, if you do what I just said, what do you have? Your argument points for why you're worth more. Well, if this is our goal, based on my background and my track record over there and what you want me to do and my knowledge of that, we're going to be able to do this. If we do this, my comp should be not this, but this kind of thing. That's where you go with all that. It's all hooked together. I hope you guys like that one because that's a really, really key thing. That's really key. That's a really great question. Love it. Let's see. Jennifer Ladd, how are you? Great to thank you for the anniversary wish. Let's see. Just used your resignation letter. Well, it's always good if you're using a resignation letter template. I messaged you on LinkedIn. Yes, because I read it and responded. But I'll say it here. Thanks to you, I was able to double my salary and accepted a marketing manager remote job. Love it. Can we give her a huge high 10? That's awesome. That is just, and I hope that also serves as evidence that the market, I know there's a lot of craziness going out there in the news, and even some stuff that I've shared with you and trends that I think are coming upon us. But there's a lot for the taking out there. So believe me, a lot of companies, they're still in hyper hire mode. So that, Jennifer, that is so great. I love it. Dewey. I applied through the company website. At the end of the application, there is a question that I do not have experience on the job, but I know how to do it. Do you recommend I apply? Yes, I always recommend you apply. However, Dewey, you know I want you to boss hunt, or at a minimum teammate hunt, or if not teammate hunt, recruiter hunt before you go into the applicant trashing system. So I think that throws us off our game, but I wish you luck. But that's the route I would go there. All right, wait, we're coming up on time. I'm a little short today, my friends. I got a lot of coaching sessions this afternoon. Job Search Minicamp, 8th through 12th. Sign up, please. It's epic. There's going to be 12 hours, more than that, I think, for the week. All free, everybody can come. I got the workbook coming out on Sunday the 6th or 7th. I've got the video coming out on Sunday the 7th about that job description stuff. We've got a premium extra session in addition to the priority service during the mini camp. We've got another boot camp premium session August 17th for just members of that program. If you got any questions, support@malwalk.com. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to click the like button, subscribe to the channel because you know I say this every week. It hurts me when you don't get my new stuff or don't get the alerts that I'm here at Live Office Hours. Click the little bell thingy, click the reminders, check out my stories, check out the whatevers. And if you need anything, support@malwalk.com. Everybody have a great weekend. And I think I've got a new video coming out tomorrow, Friday special edition, and a drop on the podcast. So if you're not on that, make sure to hit me up on Apple Podcasts or Google or Amazon or Spotify or Player FM or TuneIn or MyHeartRadio or iHeartRadio or whatever they are. It's all over. All right, you guys be great. I'll see you soon.